There are so many great weapons in Fallout New Vegas, it's almost impossible to pick a bad one. And even if you do somehow manage to find yourself with a subpar weapon, skills and chems can carry the load for you, most of the time. There's one weapon that nothing can save, a weapon with absolutely no redeeming qualities. Can you beat Fallout New Vegas with only a rolling pin? Our special stats this time around aren't anything crazy. It's the same setup you'd use in a normal melee-only build. But because I don't want to be reliant on speech, I dropped the points out of charisma and put them into agility. Strength is at 10, obviously. Perception deals with energy weapons, lockpick, and explosives, so it's not that useful. Intelligence at 9 lets us level up faster, and endurance at 9 ensures that we aren't a wet noodle once we get out into the Mojave. For skills, we go with melee weapons, survival, and lockpick. And for traits, we have Skilled to boost all skills, and Wild Wasteland because why not? After looting Doc Mitchell's house, my first stop was the general store to sell Doc Mitchell's stuff and pick up a few stim packs. I also sold all the weapons that came from the DLC packs. And here's the first challenge. This is a rolling pin only playthrough, which means using fists is out of the question. So, I have to find a rolling pin. Sounds easy, right? Well, sort of. They have a chance of spawning inside metal boxes, but there aren't many boxes in Goodsprings. You can use the Fallout Wiki to see exactly where rolling pins are located, which is what I used. The first stop is Prim to get a quest started. A rolling pin is important, but more important at the moment is getting my melee weapon skill up as quickly as I can. When Johnson Nash didn't have a rolling pin, I ransacked his house, but still didn't find one. I knew where one was, it was just a real pain to get there. Novak. Lovely. On the way out there, I discovered Hidden Valley and passed through Scorpionville. This was not the best idea I've ever had. It took a good while, but I finally got my rolling pin. I stole it from Cliff Briscoe's bungalow. I finally had my weapon, and man, do I look fucking cool now. Now that I can defend myself, it was time to bash in some skulls. I started with the convicts in Prim who were mean to me earlier. Then I ventured south towards Mojave Outpost. The Jackal gang members out that way, specifically their leader, proved to be the first of many challenging foes who would ultimately fall before my mighty rolling pin. After arriving at Mojave Outpost, I took a job from Ranger Jackson, who wanted me to kill some ants. I killed the ants and made a big decision. Thus far, this run doesn't seem to be challenging enough, so I upped the difficulty to normal from very easy. This isn't supposed to be a cakewalk. Not long after making things harder for myself, I discovered something that almost negated that. Almost. One of my concerns was weapon degradation. Turns out that Major Knight is a pretty handy fella, and he's also cheap. He can repair my darling rolling pin up to 100% for just a handful of caps. With my weapon essentially being immortal, I thought it a good time to rescue Deputy Beagle from the escaped convicts. The leader was tough to kill, but he finally went down after I bonked him on the back of the head really hard. Prim needs leadership, and considering what's coming, it felt right to have the NCR take over the town. Johnson Nash seems like the kind of guy who would enjoy paying taxes. With the town safe, I was off to check on Mitten for Ranger Ghost. Along the way, I fought more ants. A lot of ants. Also more Jackal gang members. The normal difficulty was definitely not very easy. The trick with the rolling pin is to hit people with it over and over again. If you hit them hard enough, you'll cripple their brain case, which will stagger them a bit, allowing you to hit them even more. In Mitten, I immediately went after that cunt Oliver Swanwick. He is a runner, but no matter how far you run, no matter how safe you think you are, you're never safe from Ethel and his rolling pin. I named myself Ethel just in case you couldn't put those pieces of the puzzle together. I met Wolf Boy, tried to kill him, only succeeded in killing a dog and then dying, beat the ever-living fuck out of a powder granite's legs, went back to Mojave Outpost to tell Ghost what happened, spread word of the Legion's atrocities, sold my wares to Cliff Briscoe, did some sweet parkour, and was off to Boulder City. I stopped by 188 Trading Post, got Veronica as a companion, fast-traveled back to Hidden Valley, and used Veronica to get me inside the Brotherhood bunker. Then I sent her packing, got a mission from the Elder, killed a few centaurs, found a holotape, and entered RepCon headquarters. Putting all my skill points into melee weapons came back and bit me in the ass here. In order to get to the second floor of RepCon, you need a lockpicking skill of 50. I don't have that, which means the only way for me to get up there is to kill the Mr. Handy with the key. But the other robots really don't like that. The sentry bots found it especially upsetting, and they are as tough as they are persistent. Once I figured out how doors work, I was able to get upstairs to recover the holotape and somehow made it out alive. The last one would have to wait. I've got a boulder to see. Jessup was surprised as hell to see me, and Jessup is one tough cookie. I shit you not, I was beating him with my rolling pin for more than 2 minutes. I started to fight the other guy, but decided it wasn't worth the effort and left, signaling to the NCR soldiers that they could advance and open fire. I got my rolling pin repaired again and was headed for the strip. And for once, I didn't get sidetracked with some other nonsense and actually made it there. Some things never changed though, because I kicked the top's doors open and started swinging away at the chairman. And for some reason, when I started giving Benny the old 1-bop, 2-bop with the rolling pin, he just stood there and took it, didn't even attempt to fight back. With the platinum chip back in my possession, I completed my delivery to Mr. House, got my payment, and went to talk to Ambassador Dennis Crocker. That's right, I'm not siding with Yes Man this time. If any playthrough calls for it, it's this one. Since I'm siding with the NCR, there's lots to do. First up is to convince the boomers to come to the aid of the NCR at the Second Battle of Hoover Dam. This means I can't meet Pearl and then kill her. I have to help them. When melee weapons reached 100, I started putting the excess points into medicine, making it trivial to help the boomers' doctor with their patients. I also talked to Pete, then Loyal, then Raquel, and I got to kill more ants. I really didn't feel like helping Jack or repairing the satellite array. Luckily, you can boost the boomer's affinity for you by giving Raquel missiles. So I went to the gunrunners, bought 30 missiles, and gave them to Raquel. I raised the plane for Loyal, got word from Pearl that they'll help me in the upcoming war, and was done with the boomers forever. Next up is Pacer. This one's tricky. I couldn't just kill him outright. Crocker wouldn't like that. Option A is to spike his jet with Psycho and kill him that way. I tried to find his stash, failed, and read online that it's a whole ordeal to get to do it that way. So I tricked someone else into killing him for me. I got the guard job from Gloria Van Graff and took my place next to Simon. I antagonized Pacer and got him to open fire. I thought Simon would help me. He did not. I was almost out of ideas. I also thought that my rolling pin was in the crate next to Simon, but that too was not. Then things got tricky again. See, I had my rolling pin and could beat Pacer with it, but if you stray too far, Simon thinks you ran off with the Van Graff shit, and he'll open fire, failing the quest. It took a bit of trial and error, but I was able to kill Pacer and have it pinned on the Van Graffs. I've been summoned to Hoover Dam to meet with Colonel Moore. She gave me a new mission: deal with the Great Khans. Maybe, if you've got a high speech skill, you can convince them to not hate the NCR. I do not, which means it's time to finish the NCR's job and finally end the Great Khans. To do this, I'll need to kill 15 of them. The good news is that they aren't as tough as Jessup. The bad news is that they're still a real bitch to kill. By the time the Great Khans were no more, my poor rolling pin was almost broken in half. Next, I was told to see if anything fishy was going on at Gamora. Seemed like busy work. Instead, I got the last Brotherhood holotape and found the dead paladin just outside of Nellis. Elder McNamara has a strange affinity for threes. 3 dead paladins to track down, 3 scouts to meet, 3 A's in his last name. It's suspicious as all hell. I got the scout reports and guess what? More 3s! I had to go to 3 different vaults to track down the parts needed to keep the bunker's lights on. First up was Vault 3. This went about as badly as something could go. I set the difficulty back down to very easy because I'm a pussy and charged inside. These fiends were not nice to me. After trying for a few minutes to kill them and going through all my stim packs, I found out that I couldn't get into the maintenance room without a key. Rather than fighting, I ran past all the fiends in an attempt to get the key. My plan worked to perfection. The NCR Ranger hiding in the vault had traps. I set off those traps and used them to kill most of the fiends that were following me. The Ranger died, and I picked the key from his still warm body. I avoided Motor Runner and his dogs, got the part I needed, and was off to the next vault. All that was inside this next one were giant mantises and rats. Easy peasy. The last vault was sort of an inverse of Vault 3. Inside was nothing frightening. To get to it though, that was scary. Cazadors are always a pain to fight, and when your only weapon is a rolling pin, fighting isn't an option. I channeled my inner Skyrim horse and walked the walls. It took longer than I thought it should have, but I got inside the vault, got the part, returned to the Brotherhood bunker, and thanked them not as an outsider, but as a friend. Lowercase on that F, not uppercase, let's not get carried away. I'd put it off long enough. The time had come to see what the flipper was going on inside Gamora. I really didn't want to go through all that nonsense, so I started beating people with my rolling pin. Then I tried to lie to Colonel Moore about it. Turns out, it doesn't matter whether you lie or not. Yay, no morals! By this point, Mr. House has usually long since been dead. I corrected that mistake, and finally figured out what happens to Victor when Mr. House dies. Then I killed Victor for the last time. No resurrections this time. Then I convinced the Brotherhood to form a momentary truce with the NCR, prepared for President Kimball's arrival, stopped a would-be evildoer, stopped an assassination attempt, saved the day, and took the final steps towards the point of no return. General Oliver told me the plan. All that changed when the Legion attacked. I could have fought tooth and nail alongside the NCR to defend the dam, but that would have been hard, so I just ran past all the Centurions with their big guns and fancy hats. They followed me inside the Legate's camp, and I discovered how truly fucked I was when I hit a Praetorian. My rolling pin did fuck all against him. Things were not looking good for me. And then, a miracle happened. Something nobody could have predicted. Here's what happened. Legate Lanius doesn't become hostile towards you unless you attack him or you speak to him. But before either of those things could happen, 2 NCR soldiers arrived on the scene and attacked the Legate. There were also Praetorians attacking me. It was a giant clusterfuck. Through some sort of AI error in the game, the Legate started attacking the Praetorians, and was eventually felled by them. I did not kill the Legate, but I took all the credit. Oliver couldn't arrive until the Praetorians were killed, and that sucked. Oh my god, did that suck. My poor rolling pin was closer than ever to snapping in half. Despite that, the NCR won the day, and I beat Fallout New Vegas with only a rolling pin. This was, without a doubt, the worst Fallout New Vegas run I've done. It took a long time to kill anyone, siding with the NCR made the entire game take longer than it needed to, and not putting at least some points into skills like lockpicking or speech made some sections more annoying than they needed to be. Overall, it just wasn't that fun of a run. But that's why I'm here. I suffered through this stupid idea, so you don't have to. And that's going to do it for this video about whether or not you can beat Fallout New Vegas with only a rolling pin. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything, leave a like. Leave a dislike if you didn't enjoy the video or didn't learn anything. Follow me on Twitter at Mitten Squad. My name is Paul of Mitten Squad. Have a wonderful day.